Luck Voltia is a sociopath. But what does that mean? And how the hell can a sociopath be sympathetic? Well, to start, a sociopath is someone who has a disregard for social norms, laws, or the rights of others. Considering this dude smiles through the entirety of his mother's funeral, is entertained by his comrades' insecurities playing out in front of everyone, laughs at his best friend's weakness, and challenges a newbie to a deathmatch, I think he qualifies. But also, he's the most positive depiction of sociopathy I've ever seen. This is the story of anime's most sympathetic sociopath. Luck's entire story stems from two things: a condition he was born with at birth and his relationship with his mother. His condition is that regardless of the actual emotion he's feeling, it is always expressed through a smile. It might not sound that bad, but it is. This not only weirded out other kids, but his own mother. In fact, his relationship with his mother appears to be far more problematic than shown at surface level. And the surface level stuff isn't great. His constant smiling led her to smack him around and call him a defective freak, and she goes on and on telling him he needs to stop, but he can't. He was born this way. And look, I get it, it's creepy. And yet, when Luck, a commoner, defeats a noble in a tournament of strength, his mother suddenly embraces him. It turns out he's a tremendously gifted fighter with elite agility and a supernatural perception of magic. This is when things get a little deeper. Yes, Luck gets affection from his mother, but is it only now that he's useful? Her behavior completely shifts after that tournament. From the brief glimpses we get of her, we know she's had a tough life as a peasant, and maybe she views her son as a way to a better life. We don't know if that's for her or for both of them. Does she like him, or does she like that he wins? We don't know. We do know hurt people hurt people. When she tells Luck to win, keep on winning, it instills an unhealthy obsession in him. When he wins, she accepts him. So he needs to win no matter what. And what does this get Luck? Superficial appreciation, at least until his mother dies. At her funeral, despite feeling the sadness of losing her, he's still smiling, and a lot of people judge him for that. Now that she's gone, there is no outlet for the obsession she started. What would you do if you were in his position? There's no acceptance to be gained, and yet his desire to win grows even further. He's all alone. The only thing he has is this desire to win, and that turns life into a game for him. Sound familiar? When he's examined to become a magic knight, he nearly kills his opponent. His reckless behavior makes him undesirable to pretty much every squad in the Clover Kingdom. Only one is willing to take him in, the Black Bulls. They're all misfits in their own ways, so Luck fits right in. But he's not in a healthy headspace. A good example of this is how he treats others who join the Black Bulls. The first time he meets Noelle, she's losing control of her magic, and he feels no remorse for her whatsoever. In fact, he's entertained. Upon meeting Asta, he challenges a kid without magic to a death match. These are played off as gags, but truly it's all an extension of his sociopathy. But I did say he was sympathetic, and that he's a positive take on a sociopath, right? The first mission we see with him goes a long way towards establishing that. Despite being responsible for watching over the rookies, Asta and Noelle, he sets off all sorts of trap magic, completely indifferent to the impact it makes on them. This is a game to him. The second he senses a powerful opponent, he impulsively dips, leaving them alone in their first dungeon. This battle puts him face to face with a magic knight named Lotus. Lotus is Luck's opposite in every way. Luck craves battle, and Lotus prefers to avoid it. Luck uses magic offensively while his foe specializes in defense. One's magic illuminates while the other shrouds in darkness. Luck is brash and reckless, which allows him to fall prey to a cunning, calculated trap. Lotus's smoke magic traps Luck and also zaps his energy. Asta comes to his rescue, and Luck isn't happy to see him. He flat out refuses help. He's reminded of his past. His mind is obsessively dedicated toward not just winning, but doing so alone because that's what he's always been. He still craves acceptance, and the only thing that gets him that is winning. Then he won't be alone. At least, that's how he thinks. But as time passes and Asta refuses to let him fight on his own, it finally dawns on Luck. His mother's gone. He can't get her acceptance. And while he's tried not to notice, he has friends he can count on. The Black Bulls welcomed him with open arms. They've had his back. Asta has it right now. He's not alone after all. Everything clicks and his growth is swift. He uses himself as a decoy, allowing his friends to be the one to deliver the final blow to Lotus. And when he goes to escape, Luck initially chases, but decides it's not necessary. For the first time, he turned down a fight so he can help his friends. When that mission is completed, he guides everyone out of the dungeon instead of ditching his comrades like he did when the mission first began. That's most of the growth we see from Luck for a while. Later, some of the guys go on dates and Luck is dragged along, and I think it does a good job summarizing who he is. Initially, his aggression and lack of tact is a big turnoff for his date, but the more she gets to know him, the better they get along. The next big moment Luck gets is when he faces off with Veto. He's still battle hungry, he still loves winning, but it doesn't have to be on his own. He fights with Magna from the start, and we learn that Luck considers him to be his first friend, so it's fitting that together they use the first combo spell we see from Luck. It doesn't work, and Luck doesn't win, but his efforts allow his teammates to keep the fight going, and eventually the team wins, which is just as good. The thing with Luck is he's 100% the weird kid in school you'd avoid at all costs, never realizing he's actually a good dude. When he hears Asta's arms can't be fixed, we see that he does care about others. He and Magna go out of their way to look for a cure. Another instance of him caring comes during my favorite moment in the series. In the Royal Knight's selection exam, his teammate Finral is facing his brother Longris. Longris has overpowered Finral and looks to end his life right then and there. As soon as he makes the attempt, every Black Bull comes to his aid, and Luck, who has always fought for himself with a smile, comes to the aid of his teammate in battle, and there isn't a smile to be found. This is a look of rage, and it makes the moment so much better that the first time we see him express that is when his teammate is in danger. The story doesn't focus on him individually as much after that because other Black Bulls like Noelle, Vanessa, and Finral are given more time to shine, but this actually plays into his story well. For someone who didn't want to be alone, constantly being surrounded by his friends as part of a group is exactly what he's been looking for. Then he's taken over by an elf and forced to fight those very same friends, including his best friend Magna. Due to an enemy spell, elves start reincarnating in the body of wizards, and Luck is one of those overtaken. While he's under the elves' control, we dive back into his childhood trauma. While his body's fighting his friends, he hears their voices, but he also sees a vision of his mother. We get back into the insecurity of being alone, to not be accepted by anyone. He tells her, "You're not like everyone else. You're the only one who could ever love me." I think that shows that at this point, deep down, he's still fractured. But his friends' voices are persistent. They grow louder, he sees moment after moment of his friends accepting him, and slowly realization dawns on him. He tells the vision of his mom something he's wanted to his whole life. He's found people who like him the way he is. When he comes back to, for the first time, we see Luck cry without a smile. He asks, "Can I still be in the Black Bulls?" Magna pulls him in, holds him tight, and tells him, of course. It's a really cool moment and a great lesson in acceptance. So it's nice to see them get a full circle moment shortly after. When they face off against another elf, they again do a combo spell like they did against Veto, but this time, their attack succeeds. Throughout his story, Luck changes internally and does express a few more emotions over time, but externally he seems mostly the same. That's fine, like he said, he's found people who like him the way he is. You don't have to completely change who you are to be loved. He repays that sentiment to Asta, who has always had his back, when his friend is arrested for being a devil. Every Black Bull, Luck included, shows up for Asta, and everyone talks about what he means to them. The next thing he does that stands out to me is when he sees Xenon in the Spade Kingdom. He senses Xenon's power, and even Luck doesn't want to challenge him. If that doesn't build someone up as a threat, I don't know what does. Here, unlike how Magna supported Luck after he broke free from the elf reincarnation, Luck doesn't really return the favor when Magna is told he's too weak and has to leave. Luck laughs at him and says Magna must grow stronger to be worth something. Being best friends, I'm sure he knew saying that would motivate Magna, but also, while he understands the big moments, the smaller stuff still falls below Luck's radar because, you know, he's a sociopath and all. The last part of the story I want to talk about comes when Vanica invades the Heart Kingdom. Before, he fought to win. Now, he's fighting to protect people. It's no longer about winning, or more accurately, his definition of winning has changed. Luck's story doesn't end here, but this does cover the major moments of it that show why he's anime's most sympathetic sociopath. I find his character fascinating. It's probably been done before, but I particularly like how he is the most positive portrayal of it I've ever seen. He doesn't adhere to norms or the rights of others, and he's impulsive as hell. He's irresponsible, he's aggressive, and has a complete disregard for others' safety. His range of emotions are limited. None of these traits ever really go away, though some gradually improve over time. Yet at his core, he's a good person. This boy was born with a specific condition, desperate for his mother's love and approval, who only received a shallow version of it, which really messed up his priorities. It's hard not to feel for him. He deserved to find people who accepted him, and thankfully, he did. It's a great story of acceptance and the value of friendship. Speaking of, for a video on a fellow black bull, you can click here. With that, I'm out.